Sanje Jodon Soju Shonam Na Janju Badon Dane Jabroje Dage Jansu Gebe Cho Namje Rona Benje Sanje Druber Sho Sanje Jodon Soju Shonam Na Janju Badon Dane Jabroje Dage Jansu Gebe Cho Namje Rona Benje Sanje Druber Sho Sanje Jodon Soju Shonam Na Janju Badon Dage Jansu Gebe Cho Namje Rona Benje Sanje Druber Sho Dongni Ninji Songdo Juvenum Chije Senzen Kanchen Dendrigun Chanabim Denzen Jazo So one the social dun draw show Ramjam Suro Gona Tavi make guess on Turbo River John Zebe Gube Target of Senje Shinyan Jula Charge or in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until I attain enlightenment. Through merit of practicing generosity and so on, may I attain Buddhahood for all the sentient beings. So I think we are on divorce number 72, right? Okay.
Yeah.
If we recall our previous class for briefly, what Shantideva taught us is the anger is there because the main cause of the anger is the attachment to yourself, attachment to your family, attachment to your friends. For that reason, if somebody harms them, then automatically you feel you have to do harm towards them. And there's no way for you to stay calm and think about the consequences, whether this is a right approach or not. In Chandakirti said, Simon Yuba, simply Sumbenal, Jimbo Subena, Sumba. Congress in India, Children, Tumin Shebe, Namju Torches. Oh, Children, Tum Imba. You need to the Tumba down, Mutumba, the gig, Samlotanyagi, cook up the patrodone. Oh, Delaya, and Condro, Condro with Chavadelia, using the Nijana Yorba.
Yeah. Condro che chele.
Oh, the thing Nengachwa. What did you know?
So within the six perfections, when we talk about the perfection of patience, and there's a sort of phrase which talks about how the anger, the kind of activity, or the kind of activity of anger is what it essentially kind of steals away an opportunity for us to be able to distinguish between to sort of properly and the opportunity to distinguish what is the proper and improper situation, the kind of real situation, and the kind of something which is in accord with the real situation, and something which is not in accord with the situation. So the kind of activity of anger is to steal away an opportunity of properly delineating those two things.
To the Tsumishi Namju Torja Xing Seche. Here to differentiate what is wrong and what is right and what is wrong, not only just maybe he has a right to do that, or maybe that's very not the main thing here Chandakirti and Shantideva is saying. Here the main thing is the holding this kind of a grudge or having this kind of anger or hatred, that consequences, if you, because this is a cause, and this is a very strong negative emotion. This is a cause. So if you think about the result, that is like it's really heavy. It's really something that in the future unimaginable result it will it will bring on.
Okay.
Yeah,
like it'll bring on, it'll bring on.
If I will say that in Tibet, maybe you will have a better idea.
Just
yeah. Oh, someone freeze.
I froze. I just switched my internet connection. 1 moment. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it'll be
what
better.
Are you saying?
Yeah, I'm having trouble. I just switched my internet connection because one of them is breaking up very badly.
Oh, you have 2 internet lines. My goodness. Just kidding.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, is that a royal family connection?
That's right. I have a special pass.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
저장가 추도 추민시에 남주 토지 징세의 추도 추민세의 콜레에 덴바 요담에 네 계절들 장부 요담에 딘내가 계절이 보고 잡아다 요 개체슈도 가르스나 규딘지기 규민게와 딘지를 드부 삼지미게 버직다 징그레 세게 삼로디 아주 배드 가루도 나온 노비선 그치 제장가 아주 콘도 대마다도 사바다 남선 삼로 나로 콘도 사송 세지만 도지 콘도 사바데 빼사송 세데 리그미도와 어디 말고 좀 생각하려서나 디 가두 리그를라나 레 준저를 오네 이시 녀리니 메질이야 다 콘도 사차보다 남상 코랑 아니 어따 자원이니 리무송 세데 제장가 콘도 세긴 가시지만도 까마대야지 지도 요 말을 세긴 가시 데이터보다 남상 아주 awareness 딜레이도 봐. 제장가 미용에도 가르쳤으나 콘도 코랑기 느버디. 콘도 코랑을 느버지야 됐어. 디 콤베왕기 다 들어 상만 딱으로 봐. 제장 코랑을 추도 추미시에 남주 초야의 느버디 추추 친구요레스. 안을 하바도 추도 추미세야 돼. 안주 레 준젤을 몽베. 다바도 주 콘도 딘디지 제발 때니 두부 딘디지 농그리스입니다. 몽바 텔이야. 아니 고급 친구지 때 리서치. 어디 내가 친구 있으래.
So here when we talk about the kind of function of anger to steal away the opportunity to sort of clearly identify what is kind of in accord with the reality and not in accord with reality. We're not really, we're not really just talking about who's in the right and who's in the wrong here. That this I've got the truth and that person has not got the truth. This is only okay. You can say this is part of it, but it's not that's only a kind of surface or temporary level. At a deeper level, what we're talking about in clearly delineating between what is the essentially in accord with reality and not, is to talk about how even just one moment of anger, the cause of just one moment of anger has this unimaginably terrible consequence of binding us to an unimaginable amount of suffering as its result. And so it's possible for us sometimes when anger arises in us to sort of identify it. Maybe we can sometimes, it's maybe possible for us to say, very quickly, quite quickly after it's arisen in us, to say, oh, this is there I go again, getting angry. But there's not really a sense in which we have a tremendously strong remorse or regret about that, and that's what we need to come almost automatically. Of course, maybe for a few seconds the anger arises, and for a few seconds we're not able to act, but there should be this real tremendous sense of regret and a sort of awareness of the tremendously damaging potential that anger has, and so this can only come to us if we really have a decisive understanding of the relationship, the karmic relationship between causes and their consequential results. And so this is when we talk about the having the opportunity stolen, anger stealing away from us, the opportunity to be able to delineate between what is kind of in accord with reality and not. This is really at the level that we're thinking about. What is it?
So as a result, not having much faith in the law of causality, and with this kind of ignorance, the experience that we have is, once we have anger, automatically we have no regret immediately after that. So as when we talk about regret, the one thing is that we don't, if it is anger is after the anger, we always have to feel regret, but nothing to be joy about this regret. Then regret is such a strong kind of emotion that you feel like, wish I haven't done that. That's all. So this is something very heavy. There's nothing pleasure in there. But here, Shantideva is saying, if somebody has a tremendous belief in the law of causality, automatically he might have some kind of regret right after what he has done. But at the same time, what will he have is so much joy. That kind of joy here. Now, if we read 72, verse number 72. Seje meshi la je de kede tama jimalik. Kede mi dungengi nyawatana jimalik. 72, please.
Why is a person condemned to death not fortunate if they are released after having a hand cut off? Why am I, who am experiencing human misery, not fortunate, if by that I am spared from the agonies of hell?
This Shantideva is, here he is not talking about having a regret only. Here he's saying, if you think about the consequences of the anger in our future lives, and also this life, what the anger will bring into the family, into the guru or student relation, and whole world, this hatred, and how we have seen this picture already. We have experienced it. So after this is not only about this life only, it will continue, bring so much the worst condition in our future lives. For that reason, the what we here Shantideva is saying, if you can think about the consequences very strongly, if you believe in this, then if you can be, in order to not bring this kind of suffering in the future, not about this future life, in the future lives, in the future, not this life only, future lives, and not about yourself only, the other person who made you unhappy. So both they don't need to pay so much big price. So before that, that if you can be in the position of patience, then at the time of the patience, there is a little bit of kind of a it sounds like a little bit of a defeat there, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like, but it's more like the defeat of the how we labeled it, how samsara people labeled it, how your friends say, "What are you stupid? Why don't you say something back to them?" Or why don't you do something like sue him or something? So this kind of defeat is there, small defeat kind of is there. But even it's a kind of like you feel like it's small defeat. But if you look back, if you can believe in the consequences of the future lives, so what this kind of the connection will bring in our future lives, then it is more like you are not doing it for a bigger reason. It's so they look at the example. The punishment is to be get killed, but then ultimately you got a news saying you don't need to. We are not going to kill you, but still you have to pay a little price that we will cut off your hand. Then you don't feel like I cannot give my hand. It's like, of course you cut my hand because you you in English you
it's a much smaller price to pay. You calculate it's a much
smaller
price to pay.
You value your life more than your hand. Okay, so this is all about bringing the joy. So last time I remember that one of my friends asked me a question about purifying and having a merit same time. That's what I'm saying here. Here, patience, the regret, having a regret is like a purifying. And at the same time, you feel joy in there. It's gaining the merit.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's move to the 73. Tati dungi ditsamlaya dagi suba minuna tena nyewe dungi ju chowachi de domiche. 73.
If I am unable to endure even the mere sufferings of the present, then why do I not restrain myself from being angry, which will be the source of hellish misery?
It is hard to believe in hell, whether there is a hell or not. And believing in a kind of heaven, it's hard to believe. But somehow we have a similar picture of hell in our world. And we have a similar picture of heaven in the world. And I love the way the picturing not a heaven in a like there is a place for heaven up there and hell down there. It is more like the way Chitta Mantra school says. Okay, if your karma is more pure, the appearance will be more pure. But your karma is more negative, the way you look at that thing or that person looks more negative. Right? So this is more like a kind of better for me, for my level. It is a better understanding to see the kind of hell in there, and also what we call it, heaven or purity there. So now, but if you look around you, and these days you can look into the internet, how these animals are suffering, right? But we in a better condition, and relatively. But then there's so many the insects, and then the how the predators, they hunt down their prey, and even they have no excuse saying, I'm pregnant, I have a calf, what's that, a baby inside my womb, and then they have to run, and once immediately it's born, in a few minutes somebody is going to come and kill. So all this, why? Because we see these are like it's another picture. It's happening with the TV, in the TV. It happened. So it's more like it's not connected to you. But if we try to see this picture, it is not about that deer. That is its own story. But now you look at your picture, this kind of thing will definitely happen with me for sure. And then what you will feel? That's what Buddha is trying to tell us. Look, this kind of picture, this is not the other story only. This story will definitely be your story. And it has been your story. It will be your story. And that's more believing in the, now we have to get into this syllogism. Dirwa, tanda kersa. Rande nyugu jenye in this, the chiranchik churda, yeah.
So there's a syllogism from the first chapter of Dharmakirti's Compendium of Valid Cognition, which says that it takes as the subject of the syllogism a field in the spring, which is properly planted and has all of the but it says in the subject of the syllogism that it's a springtime field in the south of the country or something like that. This is important. And then it's a field which has all the conditions of water, fertilizer, and the seeds have been properly planted. And then the syllogism goes, this is a syllogism brought by an opponent to say that it will definitely give rise, it is guaranteed to produce its own harvest because it's a field which is complete with all of the necessary conditions. So this is brought by an opponent to Dharmakirti, so to speak, against a thesis that Dharmakirti holds. But that it's the important thing is that it's produced. Its result will definitely be produced. That's the part of the syllogism.
Saudi, 제가 아란줄라야 내서 출입도시 초과 창대요です. 레드주 창마 창대요. 셴리아 다다 용도 용신베 레 용수 조건 안줄 창대요.
Yeah.
데 인도 잠베 기징이발라 밤에 또 비셔라 자로디리 자로디 그러바 템버 마템버이나 아니 먼저 동년 용해래 용버ኘ버래 어디 가서 단다 따스당도 어떻게 가서 지금 민지 타취 상당고요다 어디 삼로 타취이나 아니 레이좀데라다 패진 아주 마서네 단자선 뭐지 레야라야 시다기 편도도가 되게 버디기
So this reasoning is a reasoning that really helps us to, because the reason that's given in the text is an example, of course, it's not the meaning. But this really helps us with generating kind of trusting faith in the karmic law of cause, the cause and effect karmic law. And when it says in the syllogism that we're talking about a field which is, you know, ripe with all of the conditions for the harvest to be produced, then we are in that situation. We are all of the karmas are just ready and ripe for to ripen into suffering for us. So we are in that position. We have to put ourselves in the position of this syllogism. And in the second moment, the suffering is guaranteed to be produced. Now, in the syllogism, what they do is they say that there's one, the ranlugi charot toyegi gokapji du chesan gene mains lapidwa dire. So the one's own system responds to this syllogism from another system by saying, well, it's not quite definite to be produced because there's one chance, and the one chance is that before the seeds and the sprout, you know, ripen into the full harvest, a flock of crows can come along and eat up all of the seeds, and the harvest will not be produced. That's okay. Okay, so we can accept that maybe that is opportunity, but what's that opportunity in relation to our situation where we're stuck in this complete nexus of karmic conditions just waiting to give rise to suffering? And the only thing that can save us, the only thing which is the crow, is the wisdom understanding selflessness. And so if that is not there, then it's guaranteed that it's absolutely guaranteed that the suffering will be produced, that the suffering will need to be experienced. And so this example and the meaning of the example is used to help us also to understand the necessity of trusting faith in the law of karma.
So now, as we are here talking about the benefits of patience, so if we cannot think about the wisdom or emptiness here directly, but ultimately what we have to have is quite when the anchor comes up, you feel like this kind of the wave or the heat is, you can feel this, you can sense that, and then automatically you have to feel that if I cannot, if I don't resist
resist.
Resist this kind of situation or anger, and then in the future that I am giving so much opportunity to the negative karma to be ripened in the future. And for that reason, and then even at the moment, it is like holding your even it's more like the I don't know if this is a good example or not. If you are listening to the teachings very strongly, and if you really have a strong concentration there, but if at the same time you need to go to toilet and you don't want to miss that, you hold it, because it's more like you watching a very interesting movie, like same, and you don't want to skip this part, and you're holding it, but the pain is there, but at the same time you don't call this as a pain. The pain is there, but still what your focus is to the pleasure. So that's what Shantideva is trying to awake us with this kind of teaching. Okay. 73, now 74. And debe tundu sela so nyawar tongda nyongyur dagi rangi tundani shingi tunya macheso 74 please.
For the sake of satisfying my desires, I have suffered numerous burnings in hell, but by those actions I neither fulfilled the purpose of myself nor others.
Now this we can without any kind of complaints, we can accept Shantideva's advice here. We definitely can agree with this. If there's past lives and the way we are thinking, way our behavior, way our practices, how it's going, we can definitely say that we have wasted our life in our past lives. And not only the past lives, but then also not this kind of life. This life is, you can differentiate between good and bad and so many things because of the human brain. But now if we have spent our time as a non-human, like kind of animal realm, lower realms, and then you look at your own pet, or you can see water, how they think, very, very limited, and what they just want to pleasure, and what are their, so we have wasted so many life, but still they do so many things because they love themselves very much. And then if we can recall from the first chapter of Shantideva, the way of Bodhisattva's life, and there he says about, at the end, I think end of the chapter, it says so many of us, all of us actually, we do so many things as we love ourselves so much, but then we do something in a very wrong way that we destroy our own happiness as it's like our enemy. So maybe some of you have remember this. So now Shantideva is making connection with Dhya. It's more like saying you have failed yourself and you have failed others at the same time. And it's more this precious human rebirth, because of not maybe my English is now finito. Tinda 제가 멜류 톱이 차르마부 톱이 얘기레스 이나야 멜류 톱이 거미쳐봐 랑라양 거쳐봐 세버도 신기 된도양 멜류 톱이 다 돌았다 거미쳐봐 중무대 세우 시비지레 샤세치 데베턴도 셀라서 데베턴도 세드 수수 데베턴들이야 아니 냐월 똥다만 고치 로차샤스 딜레야 랑든 삼는 로샤스 냐월 도야데 랑든 삼는 로샤스 아니 디두 랑든 삼는 로샤스 아니 신기 토양 마체소스들 아다 신된 지금이도스 그봐 랑든 다 디르다 디고도 다 디삼다나야 고요 신된 삼나 랑든 요레스 랑든 삼나 랑든 쪼르 삼다이나 아니 신된 용식마르세지 다디 삼로디 덴티카도 리기요 붙이래 딘다 랑든 쪼르 삼바이나 신된 샤르둡세디 용구마르스 신된 쪼르 두바이나 랑든 샤르둡세디 용그레세지 디고 칙디고 고고도 고문도 따디지라서 공부해야 돼.
So yeah, so here you know we've it's pretty I'm fairly sure that we've attained this form of precious human rebirth many times, but for the sake of our own kind of benefit and welfare, and also for the sake of others and benefit and welfare, or for the purpose of others' benefit and welfare, both of them, we've wasted this opportunity again and again of achieving a precious human welfare, achieving a precious human rebirth, and then allowing it to go to waste. And so it says here in the verse, in the first line of the verse, where it talks about how, where it says, for the sake of satisfying my desires, so one's own desires, for the sake of satisfying my desires, I have suffered numerous burnings in hell. And so, out of concern for our own selfish needs and requirements, we've committed actions which have then, caused us to, we've wasted our precious opportunity and created a lot of suffering for ourselves. Now, there's what I want to, and we haven't completed, and therefore we haven't completed either our own kind of benefit and welfare or that of others. So here I want to sort of put something in which I want you to think about. You can sort of, think about it with yourself, whether you think this is accurate or not. But I would say that if we concern ourselves primarily with the welfare of others, then I think in a kind of implicitly, or through the process of that, through the force of that, our own welfare is also obtained. But if we think solely or primarily only for the welfare of ourselves, then it doesn't seem possible that the welfare of others can be attained. And so that it can't, there's a kind of implicit sense in which working for the welfare of others achieves their own welfare, but working primarily for our own welfare doesn't achieve the welfare of others. So I want you can sort of discuss or think about that, whether that's a valid statement or not.
Bodhisattva. That in 74 was one, that's 75. So now if you really feel kind of the regret that you in order to have the regret, you have to feel like this is right and this is wrong. So now I have done this wrong, but this is the right direction. So unless you don't have this, then even your regret is not very strong, or maybe the regret is not the right regret. So in order to have this regret, that Shantideva is saying, you have to have kind of a strong kind of a feeling that no doubt that I have wasted my so many lives. So now, because the reason everything I do for my own benefit, so that is the main obstacle that I'm suffering. Now I will change it to, I will bring others before, and then me as a second. And then I will see how it works. So that is a kind of the way Shantideva is teaching us. 제장가 디게 정말 꽤 대다 탐지 랑된 쪽 삼지 중부 샤다르샤스 다디 인도 잠베 다단다 74들이야 참조린다. 디 인도 잠베 다 딘디디 샘다 쳇잡이 쉬고라. 딘디기 겨바디 깨잡이 쉬고라. 다 얘기 서봐 공부 될 때니 아니 서봐 공부디 가르쳐서는 된 중무직 두백치 많이 봐. 된 전부 두백치도 인스. 된전이 가르쳐서는 랑신이게 된 두야지. 디기 된데 두야라 아니 재장님 서버도 공부였다. ngar sebo goma tubati rang tum chen de chen de shi rang zo
Rang kaze. Rang
rang zo tum chen de chen da shen den zo de chi sam la dang ju chen be ani ten chen bu cha ba din de ten chen bu tel te ni ani nge gi ta din de gi dung ni chung ji chung bu ne nga dire do gawa ba shi gom ba chi ni sta
Gawa.
what did you
So, yeah.
what did you do
So in terms of in terms of the when we in the sort of joining up verse 74 with verse 75, and when we think about what 74 is telling us, that the main kind of fault is the kind of cherishing or seeking of our own means and welfare, and so what verse 74 tries to do is to create in us a sense of regret or remorse that we've neither fulfilled, we've wasted all this time and we've neither fulfilled the purpose and welfare of ourselves or of others. And so after that, what verse 75 is trying to do is to help us to when we engage in the practice of meditation, the cultivation of the practice of patience, the meditation and cultivation of patience, then it should not be done, as it says in the first line. It talks about a great meaning, so not done for a small meaning, which is essentially the welfare of our own selves, but done for a greater meaning. And here the greater meaning can be understood to mean the purpose and welfare of both oneself and others. So and the main sort of in our kind of cultivation of patience, the practice of patience, then the main thing which causes us to not be able to do that, to engage with that properly, is this kind of self-interest. And when we take others' welfare and interest as primary, then that becomes the greater purpose. So what it also is saying to us in this verse, it says in the last two lines, I should indeed be solely joyful towards such suffering that dispels the harms of all. So there's actually there's a sense of joy at when these small sufferings arise, but we're taking them to use for a greater purpose, then there's actually a sense of joy. So this is how verse 74 and 75 are joined together.
75t 다니 디니 대점 뇌미나 텐션 다장 룹규르베 르베 뇌시 동년라 아니 가오버시 디르차리 75 place.
Yet now, since great meaning will accrue from harm which is not even a fraction of that, I should indeed be solely joyful towards such suffering that dispels the harms of all.
So now this is a kind of our homework. It's more like this kind of homework is not it's more not saying like think about emptiness, bodhicitta or something. This is more kind of like when you feel when you are meditating on patience, and the reason you cannot bring the patience in is because there's no joy. And when we talk about the meditation, like shamatha, and why we cannot bring the single-pointed meditation for an hour, or maybe 30 minutes or 50 minutes, is because there's no joy. If there's a joy, and then even you cannot sit for like 1 hour, but you will still feel like you want to do it more. This is our human nature, do it more. Whether this more is more with a desire or is it maybe the right intention? That we have to check. But the same method, because we cannot practice. We feel like want to practice, but something is missing. The missing part is the joy. And when we talk about effort, nobody loves effort. But here we talk about joyous effort. Then it's one different thing. And when if you tell your if you have a kid or you have a child, if not, then you see some small boy who's like, he can play, he can watch television continuously for hours and hours, and then if you can believe he has a very strong effort there. Yes, there's effort. If you give this kind, if you tell His Holiness to watch a movie for an hour, then there is no kind of pleasure for His Holiness. But it's like if you tell your grandparents to play a modern game, they can't focus for 1 minute. So, but your child in a very different planet. So, where it is, the effort is there every time. But the thing is, where's the joy? That's the question. So Shantideva here in this part, he is not only saying patience is to resist, not to say something bad to others, and bring a defeat upon yourself, give the victories. Or this is one part of a lojong there, but here it's not. He's not telling us about the lojong here. He's talking about the what is the fully understanding of patience. So here, this part, he said, I should indeed be solely joyful. That's where he says about the completion of the patience. That's the part we are lacking, I think. Okay, and did you? 다 되네. 거 보신 들이 찼다. 76. 신지연 된 거자. 신지연 된 된tö네 개대 가외 되어 톱나. 이주장네 대tö네 지지되다 가면시. 추디 가외 되어디 되어 대충 카나마 토메 연된 된 남기나 신두보이 초장 is 76 and 77, please.
Should someone else find joy as happiness, and praising my enemy as an excellent person, why mine do you not praise them too, and likewise make yourself happy? That joyous happiness of yours would be a source of joy, not something prohibited, a precept given by the excellent ones, and a supreme means for assembling others.
Here the one good question is, when your enemy, yes, you have unfinished business with that person for sure. But someone comes up and said, your enemy, all your enemy is not a stupid enemy. So that person, maybe your enemy has certain qualities, and then somebody comes, the person, the friend, who a kind of a mutual friend, and who is not biased. So he comes and said, well, he won't say your enemy, that he will particularly, he will say the name. He will call out with the name, saying that person, he is doing a great job. He has donated so many vaccines. Now this everywhere, now it's going on, this vaccine thing. Or maybe he has given like so much donation to others as in charity or something. Here is a difficult part. Then you feel like you will say, yeah, it's really good. You will say it, okay, to show that you are not biased. Because you cannot say every time he is a bad, because he harmed me. But the very funny feeling is there, because even he's doing such a great thing out there, but you really don't want to support that, because you don't feel to appreciate that. So why this? So Shantideva is bringing up this kind of question. Now this is a really big question, actually. It's a very difficult, and it's more like you become a very good friend with the one kid, and then you later find out that kid belongs to your enemy, okay? Then automatically you feel like, wish I haven't given him this kind of chocolate, box of chocolate or something. Automatically this will come up. Why? This is Shantideva is asking. Of course, enemy, if somebody did something to you, so it is more like this. But somebody is trying to be honest, but you feel like so much kind of a jealousy, hatred. Even he relatively or dependent, he is doing something amazing, but you cannot support that. Why? Then he's saying that he didn't say what is the reason. He is not asking that. Shantideva is saying now, hey, listen, my mind, listen, you have no right. That's how he sounds like. Look at the verse number 76, saying, why mind do you not praise him too? Right? So it's not something to do with much logics, reasons, but it's more like you really know there's something huge, the breakdown there. So now Shantideva is trying to repair it. So it's a really good teaching. Why are you not praising him? Yeah, you praised him in front of him to not have a kind of not to become a bad person in front of your friend, but inside you haven't praised him enough. And one very good point is, and likewise, make yourself happy. Okay, that other person is really rejoicing, and he becomes so happy. Wow, what an amazing person! Such a great. He's very happy. But you are down there. You feel like, oh yes, he is a great. He did something. Oh yeah, yes, very good. But the happiness is not there. You are not praising him sincerely. That's why there's no joy in you. And then 77, Chujikabe Devati Devachuna Dijung Kanam Matome Yenden Demba Namjina Shindupa Chorin. Now this it's more like the Buddha or the great practitioners, they have always rejoice other people. When we do the Karsa Jesu Hirama, rejoice.
Rejoice in others'
Rejoice.
virtue.
Oh, then you have to rejoice all the sentient beings' good deeds or the positive actions. We have to rejoice that Buddha's been doing, because it's the reality. Because not they don't rejoice because they want to gain more merit. It's more like it's going to the reality. It's the reality. What if he did something good? It's really good. So you praise him and you bring the happiness. Wish I can do that. But you will never say to that your enemy. You will never feel that with your enemy, saying he did such a great job. He went to the retreat, and even it's your personal, very personal. If he goes into a 3-year meditation, and you feel like you heard that he become he's on the path of accumulation. The answer may be something like deep inside, how can that person get in the path? So it's a really good question to yourself. It's a really good question. And now it goes all the back to where His Holiness the Dalai Lama said one time, saying when he talked with one scientist, the scientist's name is Aaron Beck or something. So when he said, the scientist says that when you label someone as your enemy, the person who sees he or she as an enemy, that the perceptions
projection.
The projection, but that projection is 90%, 99%, I don't know, 90%. 90%. 90% is his own projection. It's not as the reality. So now there goes. It's Shantideva also Arya Deva. Arya Deva's 100 100 verses. 400 verses.
400.
In there it is 400. Oh, sorry, 400. Oh, sorry about that. 400 verses. He said very similar. So Shantideva, the Ayadeva said something like 100% actually. Not a 90%, 100%. Okay, here we go. So now what is the takeaway from this is once this projection you make out from your own this projection, you made something, a very different image of your enemy. That's the takeaway from this this kind of picture. So can you say that you don't like, you won't praise your enemy's good qualities, because that enemy, the enemy that you are projecting, and the person, the reality, that person is very different. But for you, it's the same. In the reality level, it's totally different. So now when you are thinking about the enemy, it's more like you are thinking he can be this good. He can have this kind of quality. He can't. Because it's your enemy. That's the end of reason. So more like it's your own projection. That's why you can accept, right? You cannot accept the reality, because this is your own kind of projection. If something bad things happens to him, then you feel, yes, there you go. It should happen because there's a karma. You will definitely say this. If something good things happens, and then you cannot accept the reality because your expectation to your enemy is not something good. Because this is your enemy, something bad things must happen. So this is if you think this the whole the Shantideva's teaching is very, very strong. This is nothing to it's not hard to think as like emptiness, impermanence. It's more like the feeling that you have. Yes, come on, now this is the right way that Shantideva is guiding us. And this is where I'm lacking and where I need this kind of a way of thinking in me. Otherwise, I will always fail for yourself and to others too. Yeah, so I hope you understood my broken English. Then if not, you can ask Simon because he has helped me a lot. So he knows how my mind is working. So can give you the meaning. Okay, so today we stop here on the verse number 77. Okay, thank you very much. Let's do the dedication. Chambala is there? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Having thoroughly investigated in accord with all that I've heard, day and night through the four reasonings, mind born of reflection on these topics of contemplation, may this discernment sever all doubts. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you're the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the grounds and paths, I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. I fully dedicate all these virtues to be able to train just like the hero Manjushri who knows reality, and just like Samantabhadra as well. I fully dedicate all my roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the gone beyond victorious ones of the 3 times in order to have good conduct. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, I reveal this treasure of happiness and
Okay. Thank you very much. Stay safe and do lots of prayers. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.